This is the I'm Possible Project show, where we interview real people who have achieved incredible feats in the face of overwhelming odds, showing that impossible is just a state of mind and that anything is possible. I'm your host, Joshua Rivedal. Today, in episode 42, Facing Forward to Self-Love, I talked to Tina Perkins. Let's jump right in. Tina Perkins is a new friend of mine, and she is an accomplished business executive, has worked alongside the biggest names in the sports and entertainment industry over the last decade, the NFL, Ford Model Management, Maserati, and Athletes Against Drugs, just to name a few. She's got an extensive background in the sport and entertainment industries, and her attention to detail and discretion in dealing with high-profile and military clientele is why she's the most reliable and relatable realtor in real estate, especially here on the West Coast. But beyond that, for sure, she was born and raised in Beaumont, Texas. She attended Texas Southern University, was an Army wife, and she now resides in Beverly Hills. She's a board member of Face Forward, advocating against domestic violence and divorce. Tina aims to help stop outspousing and help women realize that there's a light at the end of the dark tunnel. She says, let your light shine through. Tina, I'm so glad to have you on the podcast today. Thanks so much for joining me.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's amazing to be here.
Yeah, well, it is. It's always good to chat and to hear your voice and to really see your light shine in the short time that we've known each other. Tina, I think I speak for my listeners, our listeners, and certainly myself. But you're more than a bio. You're like a whole person, and you've got a lot going on. So, if you wouldn't mind, would you give us a little background on your life, where you've been, where you're going, the Tina Perkins experience? Please and thank you.
Yes, hi, absolutely. Well, I'm a little small town. I'm from a little small town. I'm a little Creole girl from Beaumont, Texas. I always tell everybody Houston, Texas, because nobody ever heard of Beaumont, Texas. I was born and raised in Beaumont. I stayed there until I went to college in Houston to Texas Southern University. I married my longtime sweetheart then, was dating since sixth grade. Ended up getting married, and he joined the military, and we moved overseas to Germany. I guess it's kind of like where the whole thing began. I had my daughter at the age of 19 years old. I left school. I left Texas Southern University to go overseas with my then husband and to start a new life. We ended up traveling all over the world to some great places, and I ended up in Washington, D.C., where I stayed there for about 8 years of my life, and then moving to Beverly Hills, California afterwards.
You know, you mentioned in your bio that, that you are volunteering with Face Forward and you want to stop outspousing. Where does all that come from? Where in your story is like this passion for Face Forward and this passion for helping women and outspousing and all that? Where does that come from?
Yeah, no, there's absolutely a story there. As I said in the beginning, I knew my then husband since sixth grade. We dated off and on, and we ended up getting married. And in between that time, everybody goes through their ups and downs. You know, we had a pretty good marriage, but at the same time, we had separated, I think, once or twice during the course of our 20-some years of marriage. The first time, Face Forward actually comes in because during our separation, I ended up meeting someone and that actually turned out to be, I thought was a really nice person, I should say, and it ended up turning kind of into abuse. So in that situation, Face Forward comes in. Things like, I don't know, I guess things like domestic violence catches you off guard. It comes into a play, you meet a person, you're kind of on the rebound, which I don't want any female to ever feel like that. You're kind of on the rebound, you meet a person, they seem to be a nice person, everything goes well. You start hanging out with them a little bit, and little bitty things start to happen. Before you know it, it starts as just a yelling conversation, and you think it's okay. Then it turns into a little push. Then it turns into, kind of you almost losing your life. In my situation, I was choked. I had to go to the emergency room, and it always ended up being my fault. And being in that situation, you kind of start to feel like it's your fault because no one is perfect, and things may come about. But I had to realize going through it that no matter what was going on in life, no one has the right to put their hands on you. No one has the right to treat you in that type of a way and make you feel less than a person, less than a human being. And to where you don't really want to tell your story, you want to keep it and make it look like your life is great and everything is fine, when in actuality is not, while you're continuing to move forward and go on. As far as the outspousing, a lot of people haven't heard of outspousing. Outspousing is something that happens in a divorce. I didn't really think that I was actually, during the course of my marriage, I didn't feel like the domestic abuse. I only felt like it was within a relationship that I met afterwards. When now looking back and knowing everything that I know, I wasn't dealing in my marriage with domestic violence as far as physical, but as far as kind of the emotional abuse on that end, or those type of things. So I think I had felt a little bit of that, but then you look over that as well. Once it came down to, we just, as two adults, we just end up separating and getting a divorce. And, I'm trying to keep that divorce as, how do I want to say it? I'm trying to keep the divorce as nice and normal and clean as possible, to where we can still remain friends, which did not end up working that way, which causes an outspouse. Outspousing is when one person, whether it's male or female, in a relationship and a marriage, has kind of the upper hand. They have the better job. They have the money. They're running the house. They're paying the bills. You're taking care of the children. You have all of the responsibilities, and you're even helping them to build in their career. But you're not the one actually making the paycheck. When it comes down to things like that, then therefore, when it's time to divorce, that person has more of the money. That person has the stability to be able to continue to fight you, which causes like an outspouse. And this happens in $1 million divorces to very small divorces. It's just the amount of money that's needed in a divorce, or to where you need to separate things. It's crucial as far as getting an attorney, as far as just continuing to try to live a life, to try to get back on your feet, to get another job. It's very important. It's very important. And if one person has money to be able to afford a better attorney, you're outspoused, because you can't fight. It's very hard. And then when you get into the courthouse, that's a whole other situation. If you don't know the language, if you're trying to represent yourself, and you're going up against an attorney that obviously knows what they're doing.
Interesting. That's not a term that I'd previously been familiar with prior to meeting you, and it seems, just from the way you described it seems like a very common problem. I did some writing work for a divorce attorney some years back, and so I kind of have a little bit of an education in that field, but not nothing huge. I want to come back to outspousing. But I want to circle back to the domestic violence piece, not for sensationalist purposes, but it's really for the benefit of our listeners and perhaps for people looking for hope. So the question is, short-term and long-term, the violence that you experienced, the domestic violence, what were the short-term emotional repercussions for you and for your kids, if any? And what were the short-term and what were the long-term, if any?
There definitely was some. I would say short-term is when you're in the situation, you always feel like, I can't get out because, I'll speak for myself, I can't get out because, okay, I need that extra income that's coming in. What am I going to do? How am I going to feed the children? If this income is gone, what am I going to do? I hate to hear people say, "Oh, just leave." I don't understand. You're causing this on yourself to just leave. It's not that easy for someone in domestic violence, male or female, and especially when you have children, to just leave, just walk away. Somehow you are emotionally in it. You look at the children, and I've had people tell me, I would just take my kids and I would go to a shelter before I deal with that. Until you're in that person's shoes. That's not the case. And you start to feel like everything that's going on, it's your fault. And then it was then, and then when I started to, as far as with the children, when they start having little, just disagreements. The disagreements start to look like the disagreements that you're having with your partner in the domestic violence. Not any hitting or pushing, but just how quick you can go from 0 to 100. And in my case, there were many times that, I tried to get out, so to speak, and I would get, still coming knocking on my door, threats, different things that sometimes you don't want to deal with. The neighbors are hearing, you're being told it's your fault, you caused this, if you would just do this, if you would just do that. You really start to believe that. That's the short term. And I think the short term goes into long term, because sometimes you still feel that way. You have to tell yourself, I am better than this. You have to actually change your mindset to change your life. And that's why me starting this, and it is what I'm trying to do. So I had a really good friend of mine who actually said, you know what, I'm going to show you. You do this, you change your mindset, change your life, and this is going to really change your life. And it really did. And it started me thinking better of myself again. It started me feeling like I had hope. It gave me life. It brought back, what I hear in my head from the domestic violence situation. You're nobody. Nobody's going to ever want you anyway. Who do you think you are? You're lucky that I want you. So it's things that, and I'm pretty sure other people in the domestic violence situation have heard worse, but it's things that'll hit you like that. And you don't know in this situation. When you see that person, if you smile and a person see you out smiling, or you're trying to avoid the situation and do other things and be nice, people take it like, see, they're not going through anything. Look at them. You have no idea what the person is going through on the inside. And so I say, until you walk in that person's shoes and know what's going on in the house, you will not understand. So things that may look one way, or even reading a text message. I remember I used to send certain text messages, and the text messages used to say, oh, okay, well, where are you? Oh, okay, well, yep, love you, blah, blah, blah. Those text messages were honestly to make sure sometimes where that person actually was at the moment, and not to upset that person in any type of way if I'm trying to do anything else, or if I just wanted to leave the house and move or anything. So, sometimes I used to worry if I send a text message, I was, wow, if you die today or tomorrow, people, they get your phone and look at the last messages, the last calls or anything that was said, and why was it? You don't know, because then I'm not around to speak anymore. But that wasn't, what was written may have not been written for that reason. So the effects can go, because you never know what to do, what to say, when to walk on eggshells, and this is short term, and I think it carries on for the long term.
Lots of interesting stuff there. I want to make a couple comments, and I've got another question for you as well. Just this idea of empathy, right? Just putting yourself in somebody else's shoes for a moment. I think, and I've been in this place as well, and I'm working on getting better, and I think I am. But I think a lot of us, we see certain situations and scenarios. Well, if I was there, I would do that. Well, how would you know? You haven't been in that situation. We got to be really, really careful about throwing that judgment down on others, because you don't have their frame of reference from previous to what they're experiencing, right? So how they grew up, where they grew up, socioeconomic, ethnicity, yada, yada, yada. And then you're not in that certain specific scenario anyway, So I just, what I'm hearing from you, and based on my own frame of reference, is less judgment and more approaching these kinds of things with curiosity and an open mind. Absolutely. And empathy, because that's really what we need. That's what people need.
Absolutely.
Instead of throwing that judgment down, that's not helping that man or that woman in that horrible, horrible scenario. Well, I would. Absolutely. Well, that's not getting them out of that house, is it? No.
No, it's true, and they're not going to want to tell you. If you approach anybody in a domestic violence situation and you come across to them that way, they're not going to want to tell you after that. I've actually been in court, and I've actually to fill out the paperwork, and not the judge, but if you need help in the beginning, trying to fill out some of your paperwork when you're doing it on your own. It's the way things can be said. There's been a few workers or different things. They just make you feel like you're saying or you're doing something wrong. And I can't vouch for the ones that come there and it may not be true. I can only vouch for myself, and what I can also say, you don't know who's walking through the door, whether it's true or not. So therefore, treat everybody as if it is true until you find out the truth, until the judge just sits there and then he goes through the case and see what's going on. But to sit there and tell anybody something and you're not in their life, and you're right, you you said it's great. Stop prejudging, stop judging people, and stop saying what you would do. Because until you get in that situation and you're in the situation with somebody that you care about and you have nowhere to go or no idea what you're going to do next, you won't. It's mind blowing. I never thought I would be in that situation to the point to where I had the discussion of it with many people about it. And I was like, well, you kind of won't get it. You have to actually walk in someone's shoes, which I hope no one ever does. That's my thing. I'm here today, I think, with the domestic violence and the outspouses. And I don't want any woman or anybody else to ever have to go through what I've experienced and, still trying to pick up all the pieces from it. I'm much better now, but I'm only much better because I learned to control my own mind now. I'm much better because I learned to continue to keep trusting in God and keep God first and push through at all costs, push through.
There's a lot there. I want to get to that. I want to make one more comment real quick because there's so much juice in there. The kids, right? You said, well, sometimes the conflict, I'm going back a couple minutes, but maybe more, but the kids, sometimes their conflicts start to look like the conflicts you're having at home with that abusive spouse. And I guess maybe I'm throwing this out there for friends of friends or teachers, educators, like sometimes when kids have behavioral problems in school, they're fighting and whatever, or they're disrespectful, look between the lines. What's happening at home? Look for the clues. So I've been really fortunate to be in touch with some very forward-thinking educators, and it's really kind of a blessing to see that because it's not often that I just remember growing up and there was kids with behavioral problems everywhere, and they were sent to the office, they were expelled, they were suspended. Like what's going on at home? So I guess I'm just throwing that out there as a comment.
It's very important, and I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why I think you hit the nail on the head at this point. I won't call any names or say anything, but recently there was someone in a class somewhere, and the child was sleeping all the time. And I got wind of it from another coworker of mine that their daughter had said, "Oh yeah, teacher gets so upset when she sleeps so much and makes these little comments." And my oldest daughter said, "Does the teacher ever stop to think that why the child's not just sleeping? The child's not just coming to school to go to sleep. Maybe it's something at home and the child's not getting any sleep." So yeah, before you go into the children and just want to chastise them or send them to the principal, or maybe you can dig a little deeper to want to help to see what's going on. When I've been at school with my own kids and with my son and doing his meetings, we have him on his IEP, and because he was born with a diaphragmatic hernia, totally fine now, but I just make sure that he's getting the what he needs in school. So we have these IEP meetings, and these are the things that I fit when I talk to the meetings. Is what I say. You don't know how he may feel with not having a father figure in the home. You don't know. You're just coming to me and telling me what he's not paying attention to or not listening. You're not asking them to be a parent at school as well. I'm asking to work together as a team to let's see what the disconnect is. I
appreciate that mindset. I think we're on the same page. I want to switch gears and go back to that sort of question that was just been kind of bumping around in my mind. As you mentioned kind of how you got through this and how you got out of it, I changed my mindset. I put God forward. There's a lot of self-development. How does one change their mindset? What was that process for you?
Well, the process for me was fairly simple, but it for other people, I can see where it can get. If you have no support in your corner, if you have no one that you can talk to, whether it be your church, whether it be someone that you can truly trust, or look for different resources, but still there's resources and different things out there. You have to feel it in your heart and know that it's the right thing for you. For me, in my case, like I said, it was someone very dear to my heart. I am very spiritual. I fully believe in God, so I say that to say this person was brought across my path for a totally different reason, and we end up connecting on a completely another area in life, I should say. And there was just little things that I was saying. And I would, I would say, and he would always tell me things like, "Why are you speaking in that language? You got to change your thought process, Tina." And I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean change my thought process?" And one day there was a gentleman coming, and he was coming to do a class, and he was like, "Come meet me. We're going to the class. You have to sit and listen to the class, and I promise you, it's going to change your life." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And I started not to go, and I ended up going. And I will hold that very dear because it did change my life. And he used to always tell me, change your mindset. If I would say one thing that was negative, he would get on me. And not in a bad way. He was like, why would you think that way? You need to, retrain yourself to what you're thinking, because what you're going to be thinking is what you're going to produce in life. I believe in you, and so do a lot of other people, but you have to believe in you. And I always had it there. And I used to be like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "What are you thanking me for?" It's something that you have inside. You just didn't bring it out. So for me, it was someone that came across. I didn't go searching for them. It kind of just happened. And I had been told these things before, going through the divorce and going through different things from my mom, who has been very, very supportive and always been there and always guided me in the right direction. But you know that old saying where your parents tell you something, you hear it, but when someone else tells you something, you seem to do it. Like, you know what's going on. So then it still kind of connects all together. That's kind of how it was for me. So I want to be able to put the other resources out there, do more speaking engagements, get better at my speaking engagements for myself to help other people out there that don't have that person that I have, don't have that person that crossed their path and said, "Hey, I'm going to, this is what I'm going to do," and was there for me anytime, day, night, it didn't matter. So in that sense, that's what really helped me realize, wait, what are you doing here? You have this light. Work hard. You're going to run into obstacles. It's going to happen. It happens to the best of us. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter doesn't matter if you have $1 billion or $2. The only difference is the money. And I think that's what people fail to realize as well. It's like, oh, well, you know what? If I had this amount of money, I wouldn't go through this. That's not the case. When I was going through my divorce, I thought, well, you know what? If he wouldn't have taken everything and left me with zero in the bank account, I would be able to get a lawyer and I would have this type of thing. That's not the case, because I have friends that have millions of dollars, who went through some of the same things, and they got these lawyers bills for over $600K, and they were still fighting the same battle that I'm fighting right now.
Wow.
Would love to set a platform for that, just to be able to reach, people like that, because some people just don't have that.
There's a lot there. I'm a huge proponent of this idea that you can teach an old dog new tricks. Neuroscience, you can definitely remap the brain and retrain it. For some people, some cases, some frames of reference, it can be more difficult because of what you've been through, et cetera.
Depends on what they want to be done. Yes, you have to not feel sorry for yourself, which I did for a while. You have to not feel sorry for yourself. You have to look at okay, there's somebody out there that's going through something worse than what I'm going through. Or there's someone out there in the hospital that's fighting cancer, or that's fighting something that, guess what? They can't change it to the fact of where they can get up in the morning and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to push forward and I'm going to work and I'm going to make a change for my life. So you have the opportunity. It's a divorce or it's a domestic violence situation to try your best to figure out the right resources and ways to get out of it, to change your mind. And it doesn't stop. The more you try, the more it's going to come at you. It don't stop.
Yeah, like when you're ready to make a move and you're coming out of a bad situation, whether you're going into a counseling therapy session or you're like, I got to change my life and I've got to change jobs or whatever it is, it usually gets a little bit worse before it gets better. And I wish more people would speak about that, because we look at each other's highlight reels pretty much all day per day. Like we're like, it's like, oh, well, Tina got out of this and she's doing great. Well, you didn't see the struggle. You didn't see, and she's talking about it now. But this is her highlight reel, and she gets a chance to share that highlight reel. But I want to distill a little bit, too, what I've been hearing some, too, because I think your words are powerful. But there's a couple things I think. A, we all need at least one supporter. Somebody says, I believe in you. And if you, Tina, can offer that to other people, for the people who don't have that or can't see that they have that in their life, that's huge. That's paying it forward. That's why I do what I do. That's why you do what you do. That is such a big piece of the puzzle. The fact that somebody presented you this idea that, hey, things can get differently. Hey, I do have the opportunity to be in charge of my brain, not somebody else but me. And when those negative, unhealthy voices come swirling, I know how to talk to them. I know how to make them into a friend rather than an enemy. I know how to wield them, to do my bidding. And it's not always easy, I'm throwing this out there, but and I also want to say this too. I want to distill further because you say, don't think negatively. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Yeah, you can tell somebody that till they're blue in the face, and you're right. This idea, like, well, but have you ever told somebody, like, stop panicking or don't stop being sad or stop being happy? Like, it doesn't work. But we continue, like, with your work and with what we do, it's this little chipping away, planting seeds, like, okay, don't just not feel sorry for yourself, but know that if I can do it, and not that my success is going to look like yours, but there are at least possibilities. It's going to look different on you, but there's possibilities. You can see my pictures from 10 years ago. You can see what I've been through. There are possibilities. And this idea that there's I think more that there's possibilities. I think we're presented with so much negativity all day long. Turn on the news and everybody's sort of getting pushed down. And then we have these feel-good stories like you and a lot of my other guests. And this is really just showing people there are possibilities. You have more power than you realize. And I love this old saying, the teacher appears when the student is ready. I think that's where you were on some level in your life. So there's a couple of things, and it's like chicken before the egg, because it's like, okay, so how am I going to get help? Well, the only way you're really going to get help at some point is if you take a little risk, even if you just put your little pinky toe out on that diving board before you take that leap. Like, okay, I just put my pinky toe out there. What do I do? And then things start to pop up because you're putting yourself in that line of thinking, and it snowballs if you stay persistent and keep with it. So I see that as happening in your life, and I see that as a partial template, I think, for others. Tina, what if I can ask this question? This is a very delicate question because this is something that I kind of ask all my guests for the most part, and it's this idea of this piece of your life and what happened to you is horrific. It shouldn't happen to anybody. As you say, no one should put their hands on another person. No one should emotionally abuse anyone either. How is this experience? Of course, we don't wish this upon you or anybody else, but being out of it and having a different perspective, how would you say that on this side, because you get a chance to choose your perspective and mindset, and you get to choose to make meaning, right? So, like, how has this changed your life for the better? And this is your choice. This is not that other person. This is your choice, if at all. How has this enhanced your life going through this situation and coming out the other side? How has this made you a better person? How has it enhanced your life, if at all?
I think it enhanced my life because it taught me that I could be self-sufficient. That's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to be self-sufficient. It taught me that, I can do anything that I want to do, that we'd love to have somebody on our side and spouse-wise, but you don't have to have that person learn you. It taught me that I had to develop me first. It taught me that I had to know me first. It taught me that I had to love myself. Once I learned to love myself, then I'm able to take that love and put it out towards others and to know what I should take in and what I should not take. If it doesn't feel right to me, it's not right. If it doesn't feel right with my spirit, then it's not right. These are the things that I think that it taught me that I can do it. I can be this successful, businesswoman, realtor in Beverly Hills. It's a lot of work. Being a realtor, it's a lot of work, especially in Beverly Hills, and trying to stay relevant and on top of your game. And I'm doing that. And I'm making it happen one step at a time. And like you said, you're going to always get hit. So it's not like I'm sitting here to tell this story and to tell you, and I'm just living the most amazing life right now. No, I'm still pushing forward. And I still get hit with obstacles. I still get hit with things from a divorce that was 2 years ago. I still get hit with different things, and I still have those little voices, as you called. I love that you said that, because I think we all have them, and I think sometimes we think that we're the only one that have them, that tell you things like, you're not a great person, you're not going to do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's just not true. I learned to control that. I learned to control my mind. And this is my mind. Because if a person can take your mind or control your mind, everything else is done. So it's taught me that everything you go through, I'm a firm believer now. Everything happens for a reason, good or bad. Because guess what? If I wouldn't have went through a divorce, I wouldn't be a realtor in Beverly Hills. I wouldn't be a realtor in Beverly Hills. If I wouldn't have went through the domestic violence and survived it, I wouldn't be as strong as I am right now. I wouldn't be talking to you right now on this podcast because I would still be too ashamed to talk about anything. And I'm learning that there is no shame. This is my story. And I'm not even telling you the story the way that the story actually should unfold right now, because of nerves and really just starting to tell my story. But as I go on and as I get better with this, the story will unfold exactly the way it's supposed to unfold. I appreciate for you just, listening and talking to me and getting what I'm saying with kind of moving from one place to the next, because it's a very powerful story. So I think that's what it taught me. It taught me to just stand up more for myself, take control of your mind, and that you can be self-sufficient if you keep pushing and you keep going.
I love it. I love the sentiment and the message, and it is a powerful story. And I think if this is the very beginning of you learning how to tell it, you're getting good at it quickly. Fine.
I want my story to actually make sense to others out there that are listening, and to know and to see where I really came from. And I appreciate you, like I said, having me on the show and from the very beginning of getting my story out there, and helping me bring it back together all as one. Like I said, it's not unfolding like it's supposed to unfold, and some things in the beginning has been said should have been in the middle and vice versa. But to be able to tell it, and I just hope that it will help others, and I want to be there to help others. And, I want to create Shine Bright, just a Shine Bright platform, just shine. Whatever you do your best at it, shine bright, and love yourself, because there is light at the end of that very, very dark tunnel. But if you fold and you stay in that corner and you hide and you believe what you're hearing alone, or believe the people that are out there are trying to say, oh, you're this or you're that, you can't survive that way.
I think with telling the story and then adding the learning and the sentiment and the inspiration, I think you'll have people moving their feet and taking action. So I'm grateful to hear your story and to be part of this ongoing journey. I want to switch gears once again. This is a part of the interview that we do every single time, and it's just so listeners get a chance to know a different side of you. Generally speak very seriously, although we've had a couple laughs here and there. This is called the quick fire round. It's fun. No worries, no right answers, just whatever pops in your head. You ready for this, Tina? You ready to roll on this?
I'm ready.
All right, sounds good. Tina, what is your favorite word?
Can. Because I can do anything that's possible. Can.
Can. Oh, great. Can. I thought you said the word and. I was like, wow, that's cool.
No.
Like conjunction in long sentences. I want more.
Okay, Tina, can you elaborate on that one a little bit?
Totally. No, I love can. That's right up my alley. Turning lemons into lemonade, which you've done, and possible. I mean, I'm possible, right? So can. Dig
right,
it.
absolutely.
So, Tina, what is your least favorite word?
My least favorite word, honestly, is can't. I don't like to hear when the children say it. It's can't. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't.
How do you know? You didn't even try.
Yeah.
See, kids.
Exactly.
I tried everything. I looked everywhere. No, did you look in the fridge? No. Okay. Go. True story. Can't. Not a fan.
That is so true.
My thing about can't, too, is okay, so maybe you can't sprout wings and fly, but maybe you can become a pilot. Maybe you can learn how to hang glide. Maybe you jump out of a plane. There's can't is it's just not there. It's not. I'm not with it.
Right. Absolutely.
Tina, another question. What is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal is a dove.
A dove?
A dove. Because every time, it's the craziest little story, but maybe about a few months ago, we were riding on the 405, all of a sudden out the blue. I don't know where they came from, but it's like they were flying on the side of us, and then they just went up in the air and then they left. But doves, to me, they were for more than one reason. First of all, they just remind me of peace. They're peace, they're white and beautiful, and I always see sunlight. When I see dove, I see sunlight, and I'm just a person, if you know me, I have to have sunlight. I will feed off of sunlight. If I'm sad and there's sunlight around, I get up in the morning, I have to open all the blinds for the sunlight to come in. So it would be a dove for that reason, and the main thing, especially in today's world, they represent peace. And I just wish that the world could just, have more peace and everybody, find ways to get along and love one another, because to me, that's what life is all about. It's about peace and love and helping.
True. I'm right there with you. I thought you initially were saying dove is in the soap, so I like your answer a lot better.
Josh! It's so cute. I love
it. So, Tina, if somebody made a movie of your life, the Tina Duraso Perkins, Lifetime special, who would play the role of Tina, the title role?
Oh, my gosh. Who would play the role? I think I would want, not age different as an age in the age, because we're far apart in age, but I think I would want it to be Beyonce.
Beyonce. I love it.
I
Creole
say
too.
Beyonce. Exactly. Beyonce's Creole. Beyonce, she started out very young, and I looking at her story, she just had that inner go-getter spirit and attitude. She just wanted to, hey, no, we got to get this right. Let's do this. When she was just a little kid, we're in the backyard, and they were still practicing. And she's very quiet, I'm a talker, but she's very quiet out there. But when she hits the stage, or when she really wants to do something, she puts her mind to it. She focuses, and she gets the job done. And I think that's me. I am a little more talkative than Beyonce, because sometimes you have to shut me up, especially when I get going. But I think I have to say Beyonce, because I admire her. I just admire her. I admire her as a woman. I admire her as, in her business life, as opposed to, taking care of her kids, and still being able to get out there and, being in the entertainment world, being in the limelight, and still hold her class and her sex appeal all at the same time. Because I'm a firm believer of classy, sexy life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
she wouldn't have the experience of what I went through. Yeah, she wouldn't have the experience of, what I've went through, but, she's had the ups and downs at a young age, because entertainment business is something else, and, and she's been through a lot, and,
Yeah, and she's been through a lot with her husband, with her dad.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been a lot through her marriage and her husband, and she's still, managed to make it work and keep it going. Yeah,
no, I think she's crushing it, and we only see her highlight reels too. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And I'll make sure that Solange doesn't hear this interview. She might get jealous. Solange, you missed out on Tina's movie. Sorry about it. No. Solange,
she'll be able to play the feisty part, because she doesn't take any stuff sometimes. She takes up to Beyonce's slack sometimes. I love that about them. She has.
Yeah, she just about dropped Jay-Z.
Yeah. Yeah, no, not with my.
She's like, I'm an outspout.
That's what I'm talking about. We both got $1 billion up here.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man, funny. So, Tina, that's the end of our quick fire round. Let me ask you, what do you think the next maybe 6 months to a year looks like for you? What does the future hold for you?
Well, next 6 months to a year, the future holds for me. I plan on continuing to work on my real estate and become one of the top, 5 realtors in the Los Angeles area. I plan to really, really work on my platform, more speaking engagements, especially to get better at them, to really put out the meat of what I'm trying to say and get across. Like I said, for, shine bright, to help any woman. My slogan is no woman left behind. It comes from the no child left behind, because if you don't leave any woman left behind, then there's no child that can be left behind. So if no woman's left behind, there's no child left behind. And that really helps in today's world. That's kind of what it takes. You kind of need, it takes a village to do what needs to be done. So within the 6 months to a year, I really plan to be out there, be involved, helping women or anybody else that needs the help. Be there for anybody that may need to speak, and like someone was there for me, and to help to change the world and to leave a mark.
I love it. I see it all happening too. Really excited for the next steps for you and just moving forward. It's really nice to see you blossom and grow.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The sentiment is true, and I mean it. What if Tina, if people want to get in touch with you, whether that's for real estate or to a speaking engagement or just to say hi or whatever, is there a good way to do that people can get in touch with you, if at all?
Yes, absolutely. They can reach me at my email is tinaperkinsbh@gmail.com, and that's tinaperkinsbh@gmail.com. My social media is Tina Perkins BH. I try to keep it all the same, keep it consistent. And if they need to reach me, they can reach my, I think that's the best way to do it right now. I have a new number that I'll have to give out, and I'll definitely get that out. I can give them the other. I can give the other one because, it's definitely for real estate and for both. It's 310-663-5801. So my email is tinaperkinsbh@gmail.com. My social media is Tina Perkins BH, and my phone number is 310-663-5801.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be sure to get those in the show notes. Tina, just want to thank you so much for jumping on the show today and sharing your story and sharing your heart and for the people that you want to help. I'm just really excited for you and that people are going to be able to heal and find hope. So thanks, Tina. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to the I'm Possible Project Show with Joshua Rivedal and guest Megan Starshack. I love sharing stories and how to turn impossible into I'm Possible. If you want more inspirational stories, our second and third books are available right now. Changing Minds, Breaking Stigma, Achieving the Impossible, as well as Lemonade Stand. Both contain powerful stories of overcoming tremendous odds. When life gives you lemons, squeeze, add sugar, and pick up a copy of the I'm Possible Project. That's IAMPossibleProject.com/2/TWO or IAMPossibleProject.com/lemonade. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're more than a community. You're part of the I'm Possible family. Until next time, sending you lots of love.